like the Kevin Garnetts and the Chris Webbers and the
Stephon Marbury.
yes,
Stephon Marbury grew up on the playground.
yes, and even Allen Iverson. It's like what? Like how? Like
but trainers weren't a big thing back
I
then.
know. So on the one hand, you have cones, you have drills, and on the other hand, it's more like pavement, concrete, no whistles,
no refs,
no refs,
no coaches,
no coaches. All right, we're talking about street ball versus trainers. Is one better than the other at building athletes? That's what we're talking about today. We like to share our experiences and hopefully you can gain a little bit from what we've experienced and you can help us along your journeys. Before we get into all of that, let's talk about our lives, like our journeys as athletes, because I played multiple sports and so did you.
Yep.
What was it like when you were
growing up? I started playing Little League baseball. That was my first sport. I loved baseball. I wanted to make it to the major leagues. Loved the New York Mets. Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, those were my guys. That team was my favorite team ever.
Partial, but okay.
As I got older, 7th grade, I discovered basketball. I started playing in the local CYO league, and I just fell in love with basketball. It's all I wanted to do. Baseball, I still played, and I was actually a better baseball player than basketball player, but basketball became my true love. But coming up, it was really just playing for teams, playing at the park. We would go to ride our bikes to the park and just stay there for all day and just play. And then playing for the CYO team, eventually school team, middle school team, and then high school. I never played AAU. AAU was a different kind of thing back then. It seemed more exclusive. Like I played for a really good high school team, and I think only one guy on my team played AAU, and he was a really good player. And I think he had to go to the city to play. I played on Long Island. I think he was playing for the Gauchos.
Did he go on to play college?
Yeah, he did. He got a scholarship, played D2. But I didn't have a trainer. I just had coaches. We just learned from whatever I learned in practice is what I learned, and whatever I tried to work on at the park is what, how I got better. I did go to camps. Camps were a thing, but I didn't have a trainer, like somebody who I would go to specifically to work on specific drills and things like that.
I mean, if we did, it was like super expensive. We couldn't afford it.
I don't even know that they were around back then. If they were, maybe they were, but like O'Shea's trainer says he was like the first one.
When you played Little League, did you guys also play pickup games? Did you go to like a field and get a bunch of people together just to like play?
We did not often. We did have one of the fathers on one of my teams was really invested in baseball, and he had like a batting cage and things like that. So he would bring us down to a field and have us hit off the batting machine. But not like pickup baseball. I don't remember ever getting guys together to play pickup baseball. It's so hard. You need a lot of people. You need a lot of equipment.
Like 18.
Yeah, you need 18 people for that. And there's equipment. Basketball, you get to show up in the court and play with strangers that you've never met.
Yeah, they were always there. Yeah. To find enough people to play any sport was a challenge, unless it was basketball. Basketball back then, it was super popular, but kids were just always like kind of hanging out at the courts, and it was never like organized where people come and play. It was you always had your stragglers, your people who just took up space in the court and stuff, and back then people were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. Let me just say that. So it really didn't lend itself. But once I moved from Brooklyn to the island, like further east on Long Island, it changed the game for us. So we went from playing wiffle ball and in Brooklyn in the alleyway, because if you guys know what an alleyway is, it's literally you have these like row houses, and in between the blocks there's just like this space of concrete, and it's usually really narrow, maybe enough to tightly fit 2 cars driving past each other. Just picture a very narrow street, but it's like concrete. So that became like our baseball field, and we would make up where the home plate was, where first and second was, and like where home run was if you hit it like on the roof, forget it. It's a home run, even though it's technically a foul, but whatever. But that meant like it's a home run, and it's like this little tiny space. So that was like our baseball court. So we played pickup baseball, if you want to call it that, with just the neighborhood kids. It was never enough for a full team. It was just like maybe, I don't know, 5, 6 of us, and we just kind of made it work. So it was not organized. It was just like, hey, you got the wiffle ball, you got, and they were cheap. They were like $1.
We did play, I did play wiffle ball.
Yeah,
like my brother was really big. My brother and his friends played in tournaments for wiffle ball, so he would play in the backyard, and I would love. That was
our pickup game for baseball. So I was always into that.
The yellow bat.
One day I'm gonna join a team, and I'm gonna be a ball girl for the Mets or something. That was like my dream, low key. But anyway, when I moved out east, that's when I discovered basketball. I knew I wanted to play softball for sure. I knew I still wanted to play baseball, which I did for a team. And once I got to junior high, that's when I started playing basketball. So my basketball skills developed at like 12 versus nowadays they're like 3. So I played a little bit later, and then to get better, my friends and I would play pickup games at the local park. It was very like impromptu. If there was a rec center, we play a pickup game, and we always play against the boys, and that's how we got better. There were no trainers for us, right? And if there were, we couldn't afford it. We didn't even know where to find one. We did come across a guy who wanted to train us and start his own AAU team, which we did. He was a great guy within the community, but it was so unorganized. It was nothing like what we have these days. So when we would play with the boys, that was our way of like, we're going to get better. So instead of using the women's ball, we were using the men's ball, and we were going up against these guys who are like 10 feet taller than us. But it made us have a bit more grit, made us stronger, made us more competitive. Which brings me to our point now, okay? Nowadays, it's like you can find a trainer on like every block. And if you don't have one, you better find one. Because that's the only way your kid is going to get better and be able to play against tougher competitors. So the question is, based on our experiences, which would you think is better?
It's tough. I mean, I think the playground will definitely, like you said, it will make you tougher. Like you don't have any choice but to be tough when you're at the playground, especially you're playing with older kids, grown men in some cases. Like you have to be tough.
Don't try to
otherwise
be
you never get on the court, because it at the park it's you win, you stay on. And the park that I used to go to, there would be 20, 30 kids there. If you lose, you're probably sitting for 4 or 5 games. So you have to be tough. You have to win. It's competitive. There'll be fights at times. There's like they get angry at you if you call a foul. There's no fouls at the park. Training. It's definitely developing. It's what it's got
AC
some of them.
The court.
Some of them have AC.
Some have AC. Some don't. The AC is broken. Forget it.
But it's the training definitely refines your skills to a level where it's incredible. Like stuff that you watch the NBA, and after seeing O'Shea go to training, you see the moves that these guys are making. Like that's a move they do at training, and that must be how he got that move.
But isn't it interesting though? Because we grew up at a time with N1 mixtapes. Because we used to watch N1 mixtapes, and the stuff Skip to My Lou, and they're doing all these tricks and everything like that. Some of that actually made its way to the NBA, but now it's kind of some of the trickery and stuff. I call it choreography. Some of that is actually getting implemented as a part of the training routine, like these reverse layups where they're like dancing. It's like almost like a pirouette. I was like, was that a pirouette?
Dancing. They're doing
I know,
it.
but
N1 is
they made
theater,
it so they finessed it where it's like.
And not everything in N1 was real basketball.
I know, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff that they were doing, it was just like they were kind of like Debbie Allen, but for basketball. It's like I was like, was that like a dance move turned what? The finger roll? They made the finger roll look like a.
I mean, they're wrapping the ball around the guy's, body.
I mean, we see a little hint of that, maybe not exactly, but a little hint of that in real basketball, and I'm seeing that in training. Like some of the stuff they have O'Shea doing, I'm just like, how is he remembering all that to the legs, behind the back? Like, do you understand? Like, I am a grown woman and can't remember. what you said, it's literally like dance moves. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is like choreography, like you said, and but and it's so detailed that where O'Shea goes, if you don't, you're not moving on until you get it right. So
Yeah, yeah,
and like I said, a lot of these things are things that now when you after him going there and watching basketball, you're seeing like, oh, these are the moves. This is what kids are just learning coming up. Whereas
yeah,
when we were young, kids, you would get your shiftiness
yeah,
at the park, you would get your moves at the park, and it wasn't anything that you were actually taught. It
yeah.
was just something
You'll
that you
see
kind of just
something.
worked on yourself,
Yeah.
or yeah, or if you
You'll see
saw
Jordan
some,
do something and like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna try
I'm,
that
I'm
in
gonna try
park.
that one next time, yeah,
And then you make it happen.
but it wasn't as detailed. Like it's so detailed, and
Yeah.
like the steps and the movements and everything is
Hmm.
taught, and then it's the idea is you do it there, but if you don't take it home and then work
Hmm.
on it, you're not going to get better. Like so, it's definitely, I think
Yeah.
it's developing the players more, but I don't know if they have the same grit if you're not playing at the park. Like you don't have that same
That's
toughness,
yeah.
the same aggressiveness in some cases, like
That's
that you would have.
that's what I noticed because I remember growing up hearing coaches all the time like, yeah, he's just really a street baller. He's not developed. We have
Yeah.
to really develop him, meaning he doesn't know all of the rules, the spacing, how to understand plays, the basketball IQ. You don't have that as a street baller. And I think with trainers, what they're doing now is they're nailing down what sports IQ is, like basketball IQ is, in our case, basketball IQ.
Yeah.
But I think it lends itself to any other sport for that matter. Even if you're
Hmm.
playing beach volleyball, I'm sure there's a difference there, like how to properly set a ball versus just like, you
Yeah.
know, how to actually serve, overhand versus underhand and things like that. So I think it lends itself to other sports, but I've heard coaches say, yeah, he's a little rough around the edges, or, he's like
Hmm.
a diamond in the rough. We got to really develop him. But I noticed with basketball, for instance, because O'Shea plays basketball and he's on an AAU team, and one of his teammates, great player, he's really good, he's one of the better ones for sure, at that age, but you could tell, he has more of a grit. And I
Yeah.
was just like, and sure enough, his dad said that he played pickup
Yeah.
games, and
And
I
he
was like,
plays with
wow.
older kids.
And he plays with
Yeah.
older kids. He has that grit, that toughness.
Hmm.
So that was just like an example, and that's where O'Shea can get better if he were to get a little bit of that grit and aggressiveness. And when we speak to his trainers, they're like, well, it's going to take time. It clicks
Hmm.
after a while, but
Yeah.
I do see the difference in that aspect.
Yeah.
Um, with swimming, of course, is a little different because it's like, you swim in the pool and everything like that. It's like, with Anastasia, she'll swim laps all day long. But
Yeah.
even just to get the flip turn, she learned to do the flip turn at, like, I think she had just turned 9. And even doing that, I mean, that takes some training. Fortunately, we ran into a woman who was a former, I think she swam in college, she swam in high school, and literally she taught her in minutes. She
Hmm.
was trying to do it herself and just like couldn't. So I think in many ways, having some sort of a trainer does provide that development that you don't get on the playground.
Yeah. But then there's another side of it, and this is something that I've seen people talk about is that their basketball in other sports, I'm sure as well, is becoming more of a rich kid sport. Like there's that there
Yeah.
where it's kind of taking
Mm-hmm.
the inner city or whatever you want to call it is taking that a lot of those kids out of the game because they
Yeah.
don't have the same advantages of kids that are
Yeah.
going to these trainers multiple times a week and playing for these teams that maybe they don't have access to. So it's definitely changing. Again, you look at
Yeah.
the NBA, like a lot of the guys in the NBA are sons of former players
I
who
know.
have
I'm
now
like,
they've gotten
they got all the
only
trainers, all the
access to the best trainers in the world, and
facilities,
there has to be
teams.
something to that.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Because even though I consider us okay, I wouldn't say like we're up there like, LeBron and
no,
them,
no, no.
but it's true. I mean, when I see what the Anthonys are doing, whether it's Cayenne or even Bronny or any of those sons of players or former players, I'm like, dang, they could probably just fly in
Yeah, they
this
probably
said
do.
coach
I mean,
or this said trainer, and they
yeah.
probably, or fly out. Oh yes, we'll just take a flight overnight with my private jet. When you really think of those guys who grew up with that grit, like the Kevin Garnetts and the Chris Webbers and the
Stephon Marbury.
yes,
Stephon Marbury grew up on the playground.
yes, and even Allen Iverson. It's like what? Like how? Like
but trainers weren't a big thing back
I
then.
know.
This
so think about
now,
how great they were.
Yeah.
And now you have that. So kids like Allen Iverson, they're like, I mean, they're just like unicorns. Yeah. But it's harder. It's a lot harder for the kids who are growing up in the inner city, for instance, or just like an area where they just don't have access. It's a lot harder for them. So, at the end of the day, what I've been learning about, because me, I'm a talk. I talk. I find an excuse to talk to people. So whenever we have games, like we played at, I think it was Brooklyn College, and there was a team, and it was like a team that was put together for kids within the underserved community. So they were in this tournament like free, and they had some really good kids, and a couple of them I found their parents like, oh my god, they're so good or whatever, and they were explaining to me like it was like a free program and things like that. So I was very pleasantly surprised that there are community centers that will actually do that, because I just remember with us growing up, I lived in Canarsie and Flatbush, but when we were in Canarsie, we would like go door to door, like trying to sell the idea of starting a team, and just we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to do it. But so all these years later, to see that there are centers like this, like popping up, and they're getting these kids access to these things is phenomenal. So at the end of the day, is there a better, more suitable? I don't know.
Yeah, because I think even in like the city or those underserved communities, if you can play, I think somebody will eventually find you. And then they'll invest in you once they see you can play. But for those that aren't like the most talented, for those I think it's harder. I think the elite athletes always get discovered at some point. You hope.
But isn't that messed up though?
Because
think about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's
that's
guys
messed
that are
up.
gonna have to pay, and there's guys that are not gonna have to pay.
But where that is a problem for me is that you may have a kid who's not the best right now, but will be the best. Yeah. Think about Gilgeous-Alexandra. He talked about being cut from JV. He was cut like Michael Jordan got cut. Could you imagine?
Actually,
missing? It was worse.
Michael Jordan, you still got to play JV.
He got to play JV.
Got cut from varsity in 10th grade.
But isn't that messed up though? Think of the talent you could be missing out on. You know what I mean? Just hearing his story, I was like, what? He did. And look, he is like,
but somebody has to see it. That's what it is. It's always
somebody has to see the potential.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the trainer that O'Shea has right now, I could tell believes in him, and that makes my heart smile in a big way,
and
because
he cares.
He really cares. So, if you decide to pick a trainer or go with a trainer, just make sure you don't have one that's just all about money and just want to, run you dry. Get the right one. And I also think it's a good idea every once in a while to go and just play a pickup game. We had a new court built in our neighborhood, and O'Shea, did I tell you about this? He legit was like, pull over. Yeah. There is I think the court is done. I was like, what
he
court?
Had to pull over it before it was done, and just to look at it, and then you got the final.
Yeah, he's like, you have to pull over, and I was like, what are you talking about? Turn here. He's giving me direct, turn here, go here, and it was the court that he would train at with you, like, and then it's a completely revamped, renovated court, and he was so excited and was like, I can't wait to play at it. And it's a court that he's been playing at since we moved and just loved it. So it's great when you do have these courts in your neighborhood, or you can find one, because it's I don't know, it's a part of the memory too. It's part of just connecting.
Yeah, I think he's almost ready for park. Like, he's also very small at this point, so if he's playing against high school kids, it'll be tough. But I think he's almost at the point where
he's gonna be able to
handle it.
Yeah. So is one better than the other at developing athletes? or building or creating a superstar athlete? Um,
Let us know.
I
We
no,
don't know.
I still think you need a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I do think you can't have one without the other. And that's where I'm gonna leave it, because with for instance, with a basketball, for instance, playing on the playground is just, it just gives you that hardcore heart. And the same even goes with football. We used to just have these little pickup football games, and we'll just
yeah,
go to the park, and a bunch of us. And tell me why, I don't know why I was playing tackle football as a girl, as a kid, but my brother's friends and I would always go play tackle football, and I would get the wind knocked out of me. But even
yeah.
it just gave me like grit. So I think that was needed for when I did play organized ball, whether it was softball, baseball, or even volleyball for that matter. I just had it in me. I was like, it made me tougher.
Yeah.
So,
I
unless
used
of a
to have a thing where
crybaby.
I was big, so I would play down by the basket, and I would get fouled all the time, and I wouldn't call any fouls because you can't call fouls in the park. And after a while, they knew that like he's not gonna call it, so I'm just gonna hack. But just getting hacked and just going up, trying to go up strong, it definitely helped me. It
Yeah.
made me a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, a little
So,
tougher. But
so tell us what you think.
yes,
Do you prefer street ball? Do you prefer trainers? Do you think you need a little bit of both? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe.
please.
Hit that notification bell button, whatever, hit like, all of that stuff, because we want to keep bringing you more of these kinds of videos because we enjoy them, and I hope you have enjoyed it too. All right, see you in the next one.